Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you're not, today's video is going to be a Fashion Friday and we are focusing on 90s fashion today. So I mentioned 90s fashion in a roundup of 2023 trends. I actually talk about 90s fashion so much on my channel. I feel like it has been a reoccurring theme for the past couple of years. It's obviously such an iconic time period in fashion and I think we're all very much so still influenced by it. A lot of you requested a video specifically on 90s style and 90s fashion. So I am going to be diving deep into it today. I did a ton of research. I watched some other YouTube videos, read a bunch of things, was on Pinterest for hours, and I've compiled a list of my personal favorite trends from 90s fashion. So obviously a lot of styles and a lot of trends happen in a decade, so this is by no means a comprehensive list of trends, of course, but I do just want to disclose that before somebody is in the comments and is like, you forgot this or you forgot that. I'm not going to cover everything, but this is my personal favorite list of the 90s trends that are so fire. I also think that these specific trends I pulled from this are things that resonate with my personal style the most. And like I said, after researching so much about 90s fashion, it kind of just reiterated how much it influences my personal style. So for today's video, I'm not going to be trying the clothes on. I'm just going to be doing a deep dive. I'm going to be sharing a ton of inspo pictures and just breaking down the era a little bit more. But I will do a styling haul of 90s fashion next if you guys would like to see that, so definitely let me know in the comments if you want to see that. And one of the things that I really like about 90s fashion in general that kind of goes for all of these trends that I'm going to cover is just how effortless it feels. So a lot of the time the outfits were really effortlessly chic, kind of that model off-duty feel, but even when they weren't chic, they still felt effortless to me. So even if it was more laid back and grungy, a little bit more edgy, some punk-like styles, they felt really effortless still, and I think that is such an appealing part of 90s fashion. I also realized that there is so many basics and staples in the 90s era, which provides a lot of versatility, and the pieces become really timeless. A lot of them are also really simple and sometimes they're not, so there's a bit of both in there and I appreciate them both. And because a lot of the pieces are classic, they go with everything, they're timeless, you can style them in so many different ways. So I just think that it's a super practical era in fashion in a lot of ways, where I look at things like Y2K or something that just doesn't feel as practical or as tried and true as something like the 90s does. Okay, so the first trend that I want to dive into is like menswear and boxy pieces, because this is something that is so true to my personal style and I think it is so timeless and just so iconic, and it really resonates with a lot of 90s fashion for me. So obviously even today I'm wearing like a nice big boxy blazer, kind of has a menswear feel to it, it's oversized, and that style is just really cool and effortless, and it's super easy to style in a bunch of different ways. So for example, I'm just wearing mine today with a white tank and some blue denim. I think that this is great. You could do like a little square-toed booty if you wanted to dress it up a little bit more, or a pump, even a sneaker like a Samba or something with this is a little bit more modern. But I saw a lot of Adidas sneakers in my 90s fashion research as well, so a sneaker with this, it's that cool kind of dad style, I guess. For example, this picture that I pinned, I'm not sure who this is in the picture, which is probably not a good thing, but I'm just being real, I don't know who it is. They look famous to me, and they're just wearing like an oversized blazer with the suit pants that match, a nice little chic belt, and a white scoop neck tank top. It looks amazing. It looks effortless, it's cool, it's giving dad vibes, but it's also sexy and chic at the same time. So absolutely obsessed with that. I think this is a picture of Naomi Campbell, and this looks so cool. An oversized blazer with this sheer sparkly bra top. This feels very now. Like I would absolutely wear this outfit right now and maybe not even necessarily think that it was that 90s, but then looking back at this, I'm like, wow, that is a part of the 90s. It came before now, and obviously it's something that we would totally wear now. So I think there's just influences everywhere in our current fashion from the 90s, and she looks so cool. It's giving that menswear vibe, but still sexy, still cool. Not very literal on menswear, but also is at the same time, if that makes sense. I love. Okay, the next trend that I want to talk about is matching sets. This is something that has always been so appealing to me in fashion, and I think that it's so great because it's so easy to style. It basically comes pre-styled, and you're getting 2 for 1 because you can style both pieces with other pieces, mix and match, and it's just such a good trick. I know that that's not necessarily defined just to the 90s, which a lot of trends don't fit into just one box like that, but I do love the 90s rendition of a 2-piece set or a 3-piece set, and just the iconic looks that can come from that. This is a picture of Naomi Campbell again. Okay, so I obviously think she's on the runway here. That is what it is looking like, but just this ensemble of all leopard print, multiple pieces is full on speaking my love language, and I am so here for it. I am much more here for that than probably a 60s or 70s 2-piece set. So I just love that. It's like spicy, it's cool, it's an amazing way to dress wearing 2-piece or 3-piece sets. So fully here for that and love what the 90s contributed to that. The next thing that we're going to talk about with 90s fashion is something that I probably wear almost every single day, and that is crop tops. When I was doing my research for this, I realized that crop tops weren't really much of a thing before the 90s, and it was a little bit on the taboo side, and it was just kind of the birth of the crop top from what I understood, in terms of it really being widely accepted and worn, and maybe worn in a different way than it ever would have been before. Breaking barriers, which we love to see, and I just can't get enough of crop tops. You guys know that if you watch my channel. I've worn them for years. I think that they are so flattering with my proportions. I think they're super cute, they match everything, and I just have fun with them. I'm so grateful for the crop tops that came from the 90s. We have some crop top looks from Janet Jackson. She looks amazing. I literally wear crop tops just like this one all the time still. I like that it's a little bit of a turtleneck. She's wearing it with jeans. It's really effortless and laid back, but it's still sexy and cool. This is a very similar outfit. It's actually, it looks like a blazer. So this is Lisa Bonet, which is Zoe Kravitz's mom. She's wearing a little cropped blazer with a belt and jeans, and again, it just looks super effortless and cool. This also ties in a little bit of that menswear influence, I would say. It is cropped, so obviously it's less literal here, but just that kind of like boxy menswear feel. This style is literally so popular right now with the cropped blazer, and it has been for the past 2 or 3 years, I would say. Okay, this one I have been seeing so much in this past year or so, and I've talked about it a couple of times, and it is something that I actually loved when I was growing up in the 90s. I was like mostly a very little kid for the time in the 90s that I was around, but I do remember loving chokers. So happy to see this make a comeback. I don't know what it is about chokers. I've always found them to be just fun and really flattering. I think that they're sexy, but they can still be playful, and they just add a lot to a look, like so much more than a dainty necklace in my opinion, and that just kind of speaks to my own personal style too. I like that it's a little bit bold, it's a little bit more edgy, and I think that they're just amazing. So when you're accessorizing with any outfit, it doesn't have to be like a 90s themed outfit, don't forget about the chokers because they're literally so good, and there's so many different kinds of them. Of course, there's that one that's like sort of braided looking that we used to get out of literal gumball machines, or there's like the big chunky like velvet black ones. I love the look of those. It's kind of romantic, and if they even have like a little pendant on them for that style, I think that it's really cute. Or I've seen a lot of just like ribbon tied around the neck recently, like the For Love and Lemons campaign that was recently shot had a lot of that, and I thought that it was so romantic and pretty, but also sexy. And I guess that's not as much of a choker when it's really just like a ribbon that they're tying and the bow is like in the front, but it still kind of has that feel. All right, next is something that I absolutely think of when thinking of 90s off-duty model, supermodel icons, and that is silk clothing, specifically like silk satiny slip dresses. On my Pinterest board here, it looks like I have a picture of Naomi Campbell again, which she's just the living legend of the 90s iconic style, so going to be referencing her so much. But here she is just wearing this like satiny, drapey, silky, sexy, simple black dress, and she just looks so cool. It looks so good, and it's very timeless. Here's a picture of Sarah Jessica Parker wearing a little satin slip dress as well. I think this is when she was Carrie Bradshaw, which is obviously another icon of the 90s, and again just looks super chic, still sexy, and very simple while making a statement. Something else that I really love from the 90s and that I saw a lot on my Pinterest board is monochromatic looks. So everything just one color and very seamless, simple again, but also making a statement. It doesn't even have to be a special color, in my opinion, to really make a splash and just look really good together. Here is a picture that I have of Kate Moss. She's just wearing a black outfit. She is obviously another iconic off-duty supermodel from the 90s. Off-duty looks, I mean, she was on duty. She was a real supermodel, of course. And then Gwyneth Paltrow wearing this green set here that is just so 90s, and I think she might be on the set of a movie here, but either way, it just feels very 90s and it's so simple. This one's green, so it's a little bit more statement-y with the color, but even the black one, even though it's just black, it's simple and chic, but it is such a statement, if that makes sense. So I think the big takeaway for that for me would be that these simple pieces paired together well and being seamless and monochromatic can really elevate your look. It doesn't have to be a statement with a print or a pattern or a crazy silhouette or anything like that. You can just make something look really nice if it's well tailored, if it's well made, if it's styled well. Simplicity elevated. Okay, this next one is really fun and I feel like it is a huge part of my personal style and it always has been, and that is plaid and flannel. So I feel like this is very quintessential to the 90s and a little bit in a different bucket than the previous things that I've talked about. So this kind of reminds me of 90s TV shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Saved by the Bell, Friends. I don't know, they all just kind of have this laid back feel to them where I think there is a lot of plaid. I don't even know if that's actually correct. I'm pretty sure Rachel Green wore a lot of plaid. I can almost be quoted on that, but don't quote me because I could be wrong. But it just feels like that realm of fashion, more so than this off-duty supermodel type of fashion that I've referenced a lot before. So I love the plaid. I think it looks so good on girls or guys, and it looks so good with denim, which is something else I also love. It's a great accessory to tie around your waist and just add into any outfit for a little bit of texture and layering. It is iconic. We love plaid forever here. And to segue into that, another thing that I feel like fits into that same genre is overalls, which is something I have also always loved. I find overalls to be so comfy, really wholesome feeling, and a little bit youthful, which I think is always nice to kind of add in to my wardrobe just to keep me feeling young and happy, and it's good for my inner child. I also remember my mom wearing overalls so much growing up, so I think that there's sort of a sentimental connection there, and I just really like them. I think that they're so cute, and whenever I wear them I feel cute. So, and they definitely remind me of the 90s, again, kind of 90s TV shows. Friends I think is a great place probably where some overalls made some appearances. Maybe that was more so Phoebe style, I'm not sure. I don't know everything about Friends like some people do, but I could definitely see that. I think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there was definitely some overalls, probably Saved by the Bell again. So I think that sort of, I guess Friends wasn't really like teens, but Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Saved by the Bell had this more youthful feel to it, and the characters were based in a younger age, so I guess it is a little bit more youthful of a style in the 90s, but I think that it can fully translate to any age. Overalls are for everyone. Next is track pants, which is something I love because they're so comfortable, they're so wearable, and I have also always loved something a little bit more on the boyish or masculine side, and also comfort just comes first. So I love that these are kind of sporty and they can feel street stylish as well. I am trying to find a picture on my Pinterest, but I can't seem to find it. I think it was a picture of Jennifer Lopez, but I'll have some reference images up here of 90s track style pants. I think that they're just the best. Like, who doesn't want to wear sweats and look and feel cool? They look great with a little crop top, again with a flannel or a plaid like crop shirt or tied around the waist. I think that's so cute. It's kind of that like dancer style. I feel like all those dancing videos where people are just breaking it down and they're amazing, they're wearing like track pants with a flannel tied around their waist, and we love that. Looks super cute with sneakers, and they definitely really remind me of the 90s. Like specifically in sports, I remember like Allen Iverson or just like all these cool basketball players and their sweatsuits, or I think that was 2000s that I was thinking of for Nelly had an album called Sweat and Suit. It was like a 2 CD album. Nelly was my favorite. I think that was definitely probably in the 2000s though, so that doesn't count here, but you know, they're close to each other, and sweatpants sweatsuits, they've been a vibe for a while, so I really like that. Okay, next one is a little bit out there for me because it's not super true to my personal style, but it is kind of at the same time in the right way. So that is this floral print that is very much so quintessential to the 90s from my personal memory of my childhood in the 90s. I swear one of our houses growing up, everything in that house was this one floral print that is very 90s. I'll try to find some reference images to illustrate what I'm talking about. I actually have like a corset that I wore not that long ago. I posted it on my Instagram and it is kind of that like 90s print. It's like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's like those little sewing things people used to make back in the day, I think. The little, you know, the circles that, is that called a tapestry? I really don't know, I'm sorry. But it's kind of that vibe. It's very specific and it just feels so 90s to me, and I actually really like that rendition of Florals because it feels less feminine to me and more practical, I guess. And that is kind of because I associate it with furniture, rugs, couches, curtains, things like that, bedspreads. That's the feel it gives more than like a floral print on clothing, which I do still like a floral print on clothing from time to time, but it's not a super true staple to my personal style. And this one that I'm thinking of for the 90s isn't this like ditzy, super feminine one. And when I say ditzy, I mean like small flowers, not ditzy like dumb, of course, but I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, so that kind of reminds me of it. I think in a video that I was watching, which by the way, the videos that I watched to research this, I'll also link them in the description box, but I think they showed a picture of Kelly from Saved by the Bell in a two-piece set that was this kind of floral pattern that I'm thinking of. Okay, and last but certainly not least is the iconic mom jeans. This feels so true to the 90s for me because I literally have a pair of my mom's jeans from the 90s that are one of my favorite pair of denim that I've ever owned, and they are just so 90s. They're Calvin Klein, they're so comfy, they're nice and high-waisted, they're kind of baggy and straight-legged. They're this iconic style, the mom jean, that I just personally cannot get enough of. I think that they're so flattering. They look good with so many things. I love wearing a mom jean with heels actually, or boots, kind of dressing them up, elevating them a bit, but of course they look super cute with like little Ugg boots, slipper vibes, sneakers, flip-flops in the summer with a bathing suit. They're just, I can't get enough of mom jeans. So I'm so grateful for the dad outfits and the mom outfits that came out of the 90s because I think those are some of the strongest, most iconic feels of the 90s fashion. So I love that. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. I just wanted to dive into these a little bit more and try to do my due diligence on research and fully understanding it before I did a styling video on it. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think, if there's anything I'm missing the mark on, or if there's anything that I completely missed that we love about the 90s. Maybe I just, you know, looked over it and we can discuss it in the comments. But let me know if you guys want to see a styling version of this next. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you next time.